Good morning, everybody. The first reading is very hopeful. We heard about Isaiah talking about the desert, the parched land, exulting. The glory of Lebanon will be given to them. And yet right after that hopeful reading in the first reading, our response was a plea, a request, a prayer, a petition. Lord, come and save us. The second reading talks about something totally different from what the first reading hopefully refers to. And we are told to be patient, brothers and sisters, until the coming of the Lord. So which is which? Now, the Gospel talks about John the Baptist being a little disappointed, expecting a Messiah along the lines of Vladimir Putin with power and cruise missiles and drones from Iran. Well, the Messiah was healing blind men, curing the sick, and he was preaching the coming of the kingdom. So where is that swashbuckler hero that we were expecting, that we thought the Messiah was gonna be? So what do we have here today? A picture of what reality is. And reality is not as simple as saying, we subscribe to traditional values, so the West is satanistic, and only we Russians believe in the traditional values. Hand in glove with the Patriarch Kirill of Moscow talking about war as a necessity for them to go to heaven. Oh, faulty theology. I cannot agree with that patriarch who legitimizes killing women and children in cold blood. They cannot win in the battlefields, so they wage war against civilians and ravage cities like Kherson, Kharkiv, and they wanted to take Kyiv in 3 days. What am I talking about, my dear fellow believers? Huwag kayong maniwala sa mga Catholic fundamentalists. Meron ding mga Taliban. Ang mga Taliban, yan ay mga Muslim fundamentalists. Lahat po ng fundamentalism is guilty of oversimplification. And oversimplification is always dangerous. So, what do we have here? We have to welcome the reality of the both and of Catholicism. What is the both and of Catholicism? We are both holy and sinful. We are both longing for heaven, and yet we also long for worldly things. We are both patient and at the same time impatient. Sometimes we are kind and sometimes we are cruel. Just look at our politicians. They notice you only during elections, but after elections, they are nowhere to be found. Both and of Catholicism. We proclaim the coming of the Lord, but we also proclaim the coming of BTS. BTS ticket costs 35,000, 40,000 pesos. And we believe, like the Japanese, also root for the Korean K-pop idols. I'm not against K-pop, okay? I'm just saying that we are guilty of both heroism and we are also guilty of crass materialism. We are capable of being holy and also capable of being greedy. We are capable of talking about the coming of the Messiah, but we also talk about the coming of the bonus that we don't receive, or we expected more and we got only a pittance. The both and of Catholicism. You know, when you're in prison, like John the Baptist was, prison is a dark place. It can change your minds about certain things. It can dull your perception of reality. And so, human as he was, though great he was, John the Baptist was a little muddled, a little confused. And so, seeing that the Messiah foretold was doing things that they weren't expecting, because the average Jew at that time was expecting the Messiah to take up arms against the empire of the Romans. And yet he was going around preaching the coming kingdom, a kingdom not of this world, a kingdom of peace, a kingdom of justice, a kingdom of love. So John the Baptist for a while was disappointed, and so he sent 2 emissaries to ask him, "Are you the one who is to come, o maghahanap pa kami ng iba?" How disappointing. We all thought you were gonna take up arms and take up the cudgels against the cruel Romans. And here you are talking about peace and forgiveness and justice and charity and healing and the coming kingdom. What about this kingdom here and now? The Philippines is a very corrupt nation, and we've been longing and praying for good governance, and look at what we have over the past so many decades. Since Quezon said, "Better a run like hell" by Filipinos than a country run like heaven by foreigners, where he got what he wanted. The both and of Catholicism. This Mass is both and. Those of you who are here are participating in the Mass. Others are watching on screen while cooking adobo and washing clothes. The both and of Catholicism. We want to be there but not there. We want to participate, but we also want to do what we really want to do, even at Mass, even here, even now. Reality, therefore. I need to talk about reality for what it is, and it cannot be oversimplified. I cannot side with one who talks about traditional values yet destroys and kills people, innocent people. That for me, goodness comes from the totality, not only for what you profess. Dito sa parokya, may mga taong, like everywhere, merong mga staff na ang masipag lang ay ang bibig, pero hindi gumagalaw, utos lang ng utos. Buladas, magaling sa buladas, pero mahina sa gawa. Magaling sa salita, pero mahina sa delivery. And what is the reality? Ito po, we all live in a state of paradox, the both and. We are told that the glory of Lebanon will come upon us, and yet the second reading tells us, huminahon ka't mag-intay, be patient, maging mahinahon, at magpasensya. What other reality do we have? Prison. We all live in our own self-made prisons, and prison is always a dark place. And in this prison, we always experience being in the dark basement of disappointment, a dark basement of misunderstanding. Ano ang prison na yan? Prison ng fake news. We are all told to buy a particular brand of BCO, and depending on how powerful the commercial message is, you buy a particular brand. Kahit na pare-pareho lang naman yung VCO na yan, pero mas mahal yung isang napakamahal ng marketing at maganda ang packaging. And so magbabayad ka ng 40%, 50% more because the packaging and the marketing is done so expertly. And so we are imprisoned by marketers. Pati sa gamot, mahina ang generics kapag they spend a whole lot of money on branded medicines. And yet I cannot understand why in India their medicines cost 60% less than our medicines. Well, I know, sort of, because the drug, I forgot how they call them, those who market the drugs, are sent to Ohio or to Atlanta every year. and they are given cars every 3 years. So where do you think does it come from? It comes from the branded medicines, and it's all marketing. And that is why our medicines cost 60% more than they do in India and elsewhere. Prison is a dark place, and we all experience being in prison. When I'm disappointed, there was a time in my life I was disappointed with the church. There was a time in my life I was disappointed with my teachers who were just reading their lectures. Well, in Latin, lectura means a reading their own research. But if they read what they copied and pasted from Google, that's a different thing. Prison is a dark place, and we are in prison time and time again in our lives when we are caught by fake news, by faulty theologies, like the theology of Patriarch Kirill, that if you go to war in the name of your motherland, you'll go to heaven. I don't know whom he quotes, but I cannot accept that as a teacher of theology. That is state and church molded into one, each one supporting the other, all in the name of waging a war that is unjust. Third reality, expectation may not jibe with the realization. What did they expect? They expect Jesus the King. And what was the reality? Here comes Jesus the Christ, who was more than just King. When they said they were expecting Jesus the King, they were expecting something like Julius Caesar, something like Vladimir Putin or Xi Jinping, or the ruler of North Korea, or somebody who curses God. The reality is that we have both and. We have both good people and corrupt people. We have corrupt priests and good priests. I hope I'm one who belongs to the category of good, but I'm not altogether perfect. I know I'm guilty of mistakes over the past 40 years as a priest. Jesus the Christ, more than just the King. And even St. John the Baptist was disappointed. Are you the one who is to come? Ikaw na ba? Ang tanong ni Vice Ganda, ikaw na, pero hindi pala. We were expecting Jesus the King, and here comes Jesus the Christ. So, ano ang leksyon para sa atin? Ang unang tanong ko po ito, anong uri ng kulungan ang kinatatayuan natin ngayon? What sort of prison are you in? Are you in the prison of fake news? Are you in the prison of faulty theology? Are you imprisoned by fake narratives like the narrative of the empire? And the narrative of the empire means I have to increase the empire of China. I have to put Taiwan and next the Philippines. The narrative of the empire means I have to put back the Soviet Empire. And even if I have to kill everybody in Ukraine, all 44 millions of them. The narrative of the empire against the narrative of the gospel. The narrative of the empire is kingly. The narrative of the gospel is Christos. Jesus Christos, Jesus the Savior, Jesus the Christ, the Messiah, the Anointed One. And then lesson number 2. And this may sound like bad news for a start. The Messiah will not come to tear down the prison walls. But I can assure you of one thing. The coming Messiah may not turn down prison walls, but He will bring new light in prison. And therefore, when you see new light, you see more, not less. Even if you are in pain, even if you are sick and you were so healthy all your life, and then you wake up one fine morning and you see that your blood sugar has shot up through the roof, or you have cancer that you never expected. You will curse God for a while, and you have a right to. You will get angry with God for a while, and you have a perfect right to blame God and to know that you don't deserve this. No one deserves to be sick, no one. And yet, by the mystery of our human existence, we realize that sickness is part of the both and. Sometimes we're healthy and sometimes we're not. The Messiah will not turn down the prison walls, but He sure will bring new light to you in prison. Hope is this new light. Joy that we now say, Gaudete in Domino. This is the meaning of the pink candle. The third Sunday of Advent is Gaudete Sunday, rejoice in the Lord. The Lord is coming soon. The Messiah is coming. Jesus, not the King, but the Christos. Joy is this hope coming to full flare. Therefore today, let us join the church as it says, Gaudete in Domino. Rejoice in the Lord. I say it again, rejoice.